Hello, sports fans. Larry Allen here at the KGIS studios. Alongside me, Scott Surratt, head football coach and athletic director of the Carthage Bulldogs. Well, the Bulldogs, with their second of three straight home games tonight as they go up against the Marshall Mavericks. Last Friday night, they entertained Liberty Ilo here at Bulldog Stadium and came away with a 49-7 victory. It's 49-7 at halftime. No scoring in the second half. Bulldogs, just like in that Jacksonville game, had a couple opportunities and did not score. Remember, at Jacksonville, we fumbled down at the 1 yard line. Here are a couple of interesting stats. Against Jacksonville, we had 3 turnovers, none against Liberty Ilo. Against Jacksonville, 1 penalty, and we had 11 against LE. So, Scott, what did you see when you saw the film?
Well, I saw a lot of good things. We did a lot more things offensively this week because I think our quarterback's getting more comfortable and moving things and putting people in motions and maybe doing some different formations and things. But when you do that, your linemen got to hang in there longer because when you're motioning and stuff. So you did see a few pre-snap penalties and honestly, you're probably going to see a few more like we always early just because. We got some new linemen. They got to hang in there, and when you got to hang in that stance a lot longer, then you have some of those. And we had some really silly penalties, like we jumped on a freeze play, and you should never jump on that. But we'll work all that stuff out. But we did take care of the ball better, and defensively, again, we give up one play. You take the one play away. I think that was half their yardage of the night. And so they're still playing very well, and it's going to be a different challenge for us this week, obviously, with Marshall's size and speed, and not only at wideout but in offensive line, and don't know really what they're going to do in the first half. They were more of a, I don't want to call it the wing tee, but snap it to a quarterback, and he game listed at 4.4, number 11. And in Texas football, he's listed at 4.4 speed, and he can really run, obviously. And so it's a lot of different. And then they came out in the spread the second half and what they've been doing the last few years. So we've worked on both, and we don't know what they're going to do, but hopefully we're prepared. I know we're prepared, and hopefully we can play very well against both if they do both.
Now, you mentioned the defense and how they performed. I got Coach Preston's defensive depth chart, and he's got a new starter in there. Tell us about Kip Lewis, the sophomore linebacker.
Okay, yeah, Kip is played very well, and he's probably a little bit better against the spread and in space is why we made the move, and so that you'll see Jai in there plenty. And Jai's going to play a lot, especially the teams that run more at us. But Kip's played very well, earns a chance, and or deserves a chance, and we'll see what he can do.
He's the only sophomore you've got going in the either lineup.
Well, yeah, he's a good player, and we're expecting big things. He's going to be a very big young man after an off season or two, and I think he's got some really good opportunities.
Now, last week we mentioned DeAndre Bowman and his role in shutting down the passing game of Jacksonville. Well, as it turns out, the Jacksonville wide receiver that is so widely recruited, he's going to the University of Colorado. He had 13 catches, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, and we shut him down. As a result, he is the Ford Built Tough 5A Player of the Week. So congratulations to DeAndre.
Wow, I didn't realize that. But, yeah, he's a really good player, and Carpenter kid I know at Jacksonville's a really good player, and, we put a lot of pressure. How that works is that DeAndre covered him very well, and we got great pressure on the quarterback. And, you can have the DB can have great coverage sometime, but there's no pressure on the quarterback, and he throw it perfect, and a perfect throw beats, great coverage sometimes. And but he had great coverage all night, and we had heat on the quarterback all night. And he did have a couple of really good throws that Triple D got on the ground, and so he played very well.
All right, tell us about your impressions of Kai Horton, your junior quarterback. Game 2 versus game 1.
Well, he's so talented, and that's what it's a process. It's always a process when a new quarterback takes over, but he is mentally he's ready. you know, he's just got to get game speed. And you saw from even the first half to the second half, I think, from Jacksonville, you saw him get so much better. Mm-hmm. And then he was ready to go. He had a quick start in the game against Liberty Ilo and threw the ball very well. And he did miss some deep throws, but deep throws are where the percentage goes down. Mm-hmm. And but he didn't miss too many intermediate throws or quick throws, and we had great protection. You got to give the offensive line credit there, and the backs in protection, and receivers making some good catches for him. But his regression's coming on, and it's got to continue to come on for us to do something that we really want to do. But we got to keep him up, protected and well, and so we're happy of how he's performed so far, how he's progressed mainly so far. And I think he's had a better week in practice this week, and hopefully he can have another good game.
Now, I didn't have you comment on it last week, but so I want you to talk about it this week, the volleyball team.
Volleyball team's 25-4 and playing very well, and Coach Stewart's really got them going. And, I've seen most games. I've seen a few. And I got to see us play the first set against Pleasant Grove. We won it, and we won it in 3, and then we won this past Tuesday against Gilmer in 3. So we're performing very well, and we're expecting those girls to continue to get better. And because, like I said, Coach Stewart's doing a great job and looking for a run.
Have you had any contact with Keontae Ingram down at Texas in the last few weeks?
I actually talked to Keontae by text after the game the other night, and it was actually on Sunday, I believe. And, he was down. He was very down about the game, and, he just so hard on himself. It's unbelievable. He's like one of the most competitive people you ever be around, and when you are that, you are tough on yourself. And you don't see a competitive person that's not tough on herself. Mm-hmm. And so he'll get over that. He's the main thing is I don't know if he's completely healthy. That has nothing to do with the catch and when he didn't catch, but that's the first one every time, and that's the hardest ones to catch when you throw it like that and you're wide open. Mm-hmm. That's the one that's everybody think, oh, that's the easiest catch. No, that's really the toughest. Been doing it in 30 years, and when you're wide open, and it becomes a mental thing at that point. But he's never dropped one. That was his first career drop. I think he dropped one here, and that's it. And so I don't think he'll drop too many more balls. He's just got to get 100% healthy with the knee and get the knee brace off, and I think you'll see him take off again.
All right. Well, you mentioned the Marshall Mavericks a little bit. Of course, Marshall, everyone knows, in East Texas, they had J.J. Green as their starting quarterback, and he is no longer on the team. This game against Longview that they played last Friday night, that was the first game without Green. So what are the major differences offensively that you see from game 1 to game 2 without Green?
Well, J.J. brought something. It was hard to pressure because he would run around literally from sideline to sideline, and then he would take chances with a football. I think he would throw a lot of touchdowns because they had great receivers, but there was chances to have some turnovers also when you do that. And then he gave you he rushed for 100, 150 on us last year, and so he gave you the threat at quarterback. And this year it's they do have the threat of rush. There's no doubt. I don't know if he's a true quarterback. The one that they have in rushing, and he may be a great thrower. We just hadn't seen him throw it much. And then the second half, they brought in their passer, but he's not a true runner. So it's not both. I don't think they're what we can see, and that's what they'll miss. I think more than anything is the dual threat
and extending plays.
Well, I think number 11 definitely can extend plays because this year. I just don't know how much experience he's had at quarterback throwing the ball. We hadn't seen him in there, and he was not the 7-on-7 quarterback. The other young man they brought in the second half was the 7-on-7 quarterback against us anyway. So, and he's more of a throwing quarterback. Mm-hmm. So it's just different, and it's always detrimental usually for a game or two at least when you lose your starting quarterback, because he's the one you train and he's the one you give the keys to lead your team, and so hopefully I just hope they struggle one more week and then they can get it fixed. But now it's he's a big loss to them, and but they got plenty of talent. I can promise you that. They are huge up in the offensive line. They got great receivers. They put a guy back there that can really run at quarterback. They got a good tailback. And then you go on the defensive side, they got number 92 and 91 that weighed 280 in there. That 92 looks trouble. And then number 9 was a sophomore of the year in the district last year at defensive end, and he's really good. Gave us some problems last year. And then their corners will be the best we face. So, and then they got two safeties that are, I believe, have offers, and so they're very talented, and it's going to be our biggest challenge. There's no question so far this year.
Well, that leads me into the next question, and that is that on social media, there is someone on there who has said that the Marshall defense probably will be the best defense that you will face this year. Sounds like they're pretty good.
I think they're very good. I mean, I know that we got some defenses out there that's going to be very, very good. So I'm hoping they are, because I've seen them. I haven't seen the other guys. I hope they're the very best, because they're really good. So I hope they're the very, very best. They played Longview very well there for a while. They just couldn't move the ball much. And when you do that, it was only 10-0. No, 14-0. Right before half, and then they Longview kicked a field goal in the last play of the half. Haynes made a great play on, kind of scrambled around in there and threw it on the sideline, and the kicker made a 40-something yarder to make it 17-0 on the last play of the half. So they played them very well for a half, and they came out and got after Marshall the second half.
I believe it was 0-0 at the end of one.
That's correct.
At the end of the first quarter,
they made them punt a time or two. Marshall did, and then Longview started getting a little rhythm, and we know Longview, so they'll be all we can handle.
Now, I haven't seen the tape of the game, but from what I've read again on social media, sounds like Marshall, at least early, was running the play clock down quite a bit before they snapped it. Did they do that, and do you expect it again?
We don't know what to expect, really. They didn't do that the second half, but they did run the clock down, kind of like Pleasant Grove did on us last year, and wanted to play a short game. And I thought the plan worked for us keeping it close, but goal is to win the game, so whatever it takes, I guess. But I don't know. It's just not Marshall, so he had to change their whole mentality to do that. So we'll see what they bring this week.
All right. Well, tell us about the health of the team. I know Hunter Hill is out. Other than that, pretty good shape?
Yeah, Hunter, he's rehabbed so hard, and then he's got maybe a start of a stress fracture or something, so or maybe a stress fracture, but he's getting a second opinion, but he's, he'll be out a while if it's what it is, and, bad break for him. He's a really good player and a great kid. Everybody else I think is going to give it a go. We've got some bumps and bruises here or there, but I think we're pretty healthy other than that.
I know you're high on Montrell Smith, and from what I saw at Chalk Talk, he had another good ball game, didn't he?
He did. He's got to continue to get better in the passing game part of it, and assignment-wise, and we ask our tight ends to do so much, and we're not asked them just to be the blocker and the simple assignment guys, and so he'll get it all figured out, but he has got a chance. I keep saying this, I don't know if he can be as good as Trevor Murphy was blocking, but I don't know if he can't. I mean, that guy was unbelievable. And so if he continues to get better, he can play at that level. Now, Trevor was a great receiver for us, too. So he's got a ways to go there. But, and then you go, Caden Holcomb he was the best receiving tight end we've had. He was unbelievable because his speed-wise, he could really run. And the best route runner I've ever coached at tight end. And So that's kind of what we wanted to get him to Holcomb's route running skills and then blocking like Trevor Murphy, and then we will have the whole package there. But he's got a chance. He's very talented.
My favorite Trevor Murphy story, Scott, is I believe Trevor told me this, that he was here, of course, the year we beat Salina, and I think he told me that you drew up a play that wound up being a touchdown pass for him, and you drew it up really late. I mean, like the day before the game or something like that, and it worked.
I'll never forget it. They were playing 10-1, and we told Trevor to go out and block the safety outside of him. The safety was on him. We were going out to block the strong safety. The free was on him, and we call it a creep, a wide creep, and then we took Jarvin Robertson. I'll never forget it because they were playing man, and he went over and cracked the safety that was on him, and then we kind of snuck him out, and so I threw it to him, and it was the last touchdown ever, for a winning team. I think they had the last touchdown to make it closer. But, for the last touchdown ever in Cowboy Stadium or Texas Stadium was Trevor Murphy. So it's a neat deal.
Okay. Have you ever run that play since then again?
We hadn't seen a 10-1 since then.
Oh, okay.
So we ran something similar. But not exactly go take that out or that wide out and go pretty much crack the safety, and because it's legal, because he was cracking him while he was faking the block out there and have it at the same time. So it's pick play, but you can do that when you're not past the line of scrimmage. So
okay,
it was all good.
All right, so a good one coming up, Marshall Mavericks. It was a great game last year, as I recall, just 2 or 3 point difference, and we don't know what will happen this Friday night, but it should be a good one. The Bulldogs facing a lot of talent. They've lost J.J. Green, but they still have everyone else. So we hope you can join us. 7:30 is the kickoff. We'll be on there at 7 o'clock with a look at the starting lineup. For Coach Scott Surratt, I'm Larry Allen. Have a great weekend, everyone.